Hey guys! So it is currently 7:23 in the morning. It's early. I had a 2-hour delay today, so turn up. This birthday is off to a great start. Sorry about not posting a video last week. Genuinely, not even gonna make excuses. Just felt uninspired. Didn't know what the frick to talk about. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I'm back. Today is 9/11. It's my birthday. I was born a year after, so hashtag terrorist baby. Bush didn't do 9/11. I did 9/11. It's all a scam. I just did it within the womb, before the womb. So today I just thought it would be fun to kind of stay with the theme of not mysteries. Obviously this isn't a mystery. This is absolutely a tragedy, probably one of the worst things that has happened in American history. But it's just so interesting to me, just the whole day and how it went, and hearing people's stories of people who have survived and what it was like, and seeing videos of people jumping out of the buildings because they just couldn't take it. They didn't want to even fight anymore, you know? So it really touches my heart, and I think it just makes me even closer to the subject because that is my birthday. But just stuff like this in American history teaches us so much, and it has obviously every freaking video. No, it really does change American history, and that's the reason there's all that security in the airports, and that's why you can only have 2-ounce fluids and, you know, dumb stuff like that, because of things like these where people have been able to cheat our system. When I was researching this, I learned a lot that I had not known, and I hope that you guys learned something from this. And so I'm kind of just going to take you through the day, what was going through everyone's minds as this was happening. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys were alive during this. I wasn't, but I could just not imagine. Terrorist attack in Washington, terrorist attack in New York, terrorist attack in Pennsylvania. Anybody could have been next, and it makes me wonder, was there more to it? Was there more planes that were supposed to fly into buildings or kill people and they just didn't? Did Bush do 11? I don't know. Let's get into it. And I'm sorry in advance for butchering these names, but sis can't pronounce things. So it was a typical day in New York City. If you've ever been to New York City, probably the busiest city in the US. Typical morning, people going to work, getting their coffee, getting on the subway, walking to work, taxis, all the good jazz, right? 2 of the hijackers were named Ahmed Adaa and Aziz El-Amari. I think I said that right. They were in Portland, Maine. The night before, they had stayed in a Comfort Inn and had just driven to the airport the next morning. They had a flight to Boston that left at 6 in the morning, and it arrived in Boston at 6:45. It's funny because every single hijacker that hijacked the plane went through security 2 to 3 times. 3 gentlemen named Weladishari, Wailishari, and the last one, Satan Al-Sakam. I'll put pictures of them in here. Also, I am so embarrassing. I just need to get it together. But in all, there were 19 hijackers on 9/11 that participated. They arrived at the same airport in Boston. And it's also funny, I learned that at least 1 or 2 of all the hijackers on all those planes were trained at a U.S. air flight school. At 8:56 a.m., United Airlines Flight 11 hit the North Tower. It hit floors 93 to 99, and there's used to be 110 floors on the World Trade Center towers. At first, people just thought this was an accident. They thought it was an accident that had gone terribly wrong. Nobody knew what was going on. It was like, oh my goodness, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center. Because of 9/11, also, there are certain places that planes are not allowed to fly over. They have to be like a certain height above, and that's why they do have, not security, but they have people that do monitor those things. On this flight, before it had crashed, people who were like up in those towers could hear one of the pilots that turned on the speaker, and one of the hijackers said to him, he said, "We're not going to kill you. We're not going to hurt you." They obviously were lying. They stabbed both the pilots, and they stabbed all the stewardesses. People did jump from the buildings. There's videos of people jumping. One of the most famous pictures is titled The Falling Man, and it's just this man just literally falling in midair, and a photographer had taken it that day, and it was the headline of every single newspaper in the world the next day. Just imagine having to choose your destiny. Am I going to burn to death? Am I going to try to fight, or am I just going to jump? Minutes later at 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower, and this is when people knew that this was not an accident. America was under attack, and people were shook. At first, people thought it was an accident, but I think people soon realized that something is not right. Something is going on. This is going to be a day that will never be forgotten in history, I hope. This plane hit a little bit lower. It hit level 78 to 85. During this time, as most of you guys know, President Bush was in Florida. He was promoting his education reform in Florida, and he was I'm sure all of you guys have seen the video clips. I'm going to try to insert them all. He is reading to these children in Florida, and his chief of staff whispers to him, he says, "A second plane hit the World Trade Center. America is under attack." And Bush's face kind of he just froze. They pulled him into a back room and they told him what was going on. He did like a quick press conference, and then after that people did not see him for hours upon hours upon hours. Now to get into the Pentagon. Flight 77 flew into the west side of the Pentagon. They took control of the plane somewhere between 8:50 and 8:54. Luckily at this time the Pentagon was under renovation. It was being reconstructed. The walls were being reinforced, so most of the work had been completed that day, which praise God. The reconstructing of the building allowed the building to stay up for 30 minutes before the building collapsed, and it allowed hundreds and hundreds of people to escape and survive. At 9:45, all flights in America were shut down. New York at this time looked like a war zone. It looked like a whole city had just been wiped out. And it was devastating. It just, there's videos of the towers falling, and they just fall, and smoke just rushes. It's like a hurricane, and you see all these people running this way, and it just looks like smoke is eating these people alive. 2,977 people died because of all of the terrorist attacks on 9/11, but many people were added to the death toll list months after because of effects from 9/11, like lung issues, heart issues, all that stuff caused from the smoke and the debris. People said they had nightmares for years, and it scarred them for life and changed them as a person. The last flight or plane to be crashed was United Airlines Flight 93. It crashed in a rural space of land in Pennsylvania. This plane did not crash into anything because the people on the plane actually were fighting back before the plane crashed, and that's what they think caused the plane to crash, was the people retaliating and kind of throwing the plane off. This flight, people were standing in the back of the plane calling their family members. I'll see if I can find some and put some in here, but there's recordings of phone calls and text messages of people saying that they were on this flight and that their family members had kind of updated them on what was going on, or like in the rest of America. They were like, yeah, this is definitely linked.
Honey, are you there? Jack, pick up, sweetie. Okay, well, I just wanted to tell you I love you. We're having a little problem on the plane. I'm totally fine. I just love you more than anything. Just know that. And, I'm comfortable and I'm okay for now. Just a little problem, so I just love you. Please tell my family I love them too. Bye, honey.
Elsa, it's Lynn. I only have a minute. I'm on United 93, and it's been hijacked by terrorists who say they have a bomb. Apparently they have flown a couple of planes into the World Trade Center already, and it looks like they're going to take this one down as well. Mostly, I just wanted to say I love you, and I'm going to miss you.
Also, this plane, it was going from New Jersey to California. So you guys know me always forgetting to include the little fun facts. And people are probably questioning, how did they get to New York if their flight was supposed to go to California? It's because when they did these flights, they made a like 50-degree turn and nobody had caught them. I like how I went like that. Did you guys like that? They weren't caught because they turned the system part off to where the people in that tower I was talking about at the airport can track them. So like they were basically, they did go off the grid. So it had been delayed, and this is also what kind of threw off the hijackers' timeline. It took them 40 minutes to try to take control of the plane, whereas to the other planes kind of took control of it within the sooner than the first 40 minutes. Here is, I think, what was most interesting to me, the motive on why this happened, why 9/11 happened, who was behind this, why did they do this. It was an Islamic extremist group called Al-Qaeda. Okay, so this is where it's gonna get a little bit complicated, so just stay with me, okay? While Ronald Reagan was in office, his administration had backed a operation against the Soviets by Afghanistan. So we were supporting Afghanistan by funding their military. We funded their fight and their military in this war between Afghanistan and the Soviets. In a way, the US kind of indirectly facilitated the emergence or the becoming of the Taliban. Because of this, Al-Qaeda basically decided that they were going to attack their far enemy across the ocean, which is us. And they bombed a lot of American embassies and other foreign countries nearby them. They murdered about 224 Americans and injured over 5,000. They also attacked the USS Cole in 2000. So it kind of all just built on top of itself. What made Osama bin Laden, and he is the leader of Al-Qaeda, what kind of prompted him to attack us was our continued military presence in Saudi Arabia ever since 1990. He did not like the fact that we were there, and he thought that it was really scandalous that the Saudis were okay with our presence in their land, because this was supposed to be the land of Mecca and, you know, all those all those religious sites where killing and all that stuff is not okay. At first, he refrained from making attacks or pulling out these attacks on the Saudi Arabia soil. He just didn't want to, because the violence would have brought a lot of attention. It would have brought criticism from Saudis who have shared some of Al-Qaeda's beliefs, but he did not want their country to be under public eye like that. So instead, he decided to concentrate his attacks on US soil. The Clinton administration and the CIA were really concerned that Osama was going to take out an attack on US soil because the security was bumped up. So it didn't work. Because of the fact that it didn't work, these terrorists were able to pull 9/11 off. So many innocent people lost their lives, and about 400 of those people were rescuers, firefighters, police officers, people who were running towards the smoke instead of away to save these people's lives. Finally, on May 2nd in 2011, Obama gave orders to capture Osama bin Laden, and he was killed. The kind of cleanup and rescue missions of finding everybody, all these dead bodies, people who were covered in debris for days and weeks. It took 9 months for New York to kind of get back up on its feet, and over 1.8 million tons of wreckage and debris was cleaned up from New York. It's just, imagine waking up the day after and looking out your window and seeing the two Twin Towers not standing anymore. And now they do have memorials for the Twin Towers. I want to go see them. And I think, in a way, 9/11 brought Americans together like no other. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned. If you didn't, it's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the support. I feel blessed, and I feel blessed that I have people that do want to listen to my voice and think I'm funny. See ya next Wednesday.